In today's episode, we're going to talk about 2022 Social Security changes, so stick around to understand the changes to your Social Security check or potentially to your company paycheck.
Welcome to the Your Life, Your Money podcast with Scott Searens, teaching you how to thrive in life, wealth, and retirement.
Welcome to the Your Life, Your Money podcast, where we discuss thoughts, strategies, and actions to help you thrive in life, wealth, and retirement. I'm your host, Scott Searens, and as I had mentioned, today we're going to be talking all about Social Security and the changes for 2022. Now, if you haven't yet, check us out at lifemoneyshow.com. That's lifemoneyshow.com, where we've got blogs, podcasts, videos to help you and your financial future, help you to build wealth, help you to reduce your long-term tax picture, and reduce your overall tax situation. Well, we're a few weeks into this new year, and I couldn't help but just kind of sit back and take a look back at the holidays. I know it's, kind of looking backwards, but, this week, one of the things that I was doing is just practicing a little bit of gratitude and how grateful that I am that over the holidays was able to be with my parents, be with my girlfriend's parents, be around family, be around relatives, hang around my little cousins. They took us out around the farm. And I'm not sure about you, but I tell you what, one of the things that really helps my day get started off on the right track is just practicing some gratitude. Maybe thinking about one or two things that you're grateful for, whether it be for what you've got going today, for what took place yesterday. But, there's a lot of negativity in this world, and if we can just focus on the positive and what we've got going on that we can be grateful for in our lives, I found that it really helps kick the day off in the right spirit and the right attitude. And hey, one thing to be grateful about for 2022 are some good updates to Social Security. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Social Security changes and how they relate to you. You know, Social Security is a foundational piece of retirement. Now, for some, it might mean a whole lot more than what it does for others. But either way, it is a guaranteed source of income from the U.S. government, right? That foundational piece of your retirement income plan. And it, can make a big impact on your life. It can make a big impact on how much you need to withdraw from your portfolio. We're going to talk about how that comes into play. But let's talk about 2022 and what's going on with Social Security. So I've got, 4 different points here of changes for 2022. And the first one, I think what a lot of people have been waiting for, as we've seen that inflation has continued to go up, is the first one is a generous cost of living adjustment. And I just want to say really quick, and I'll link to the entire article, pulling a lot of this data from an article that was written in Motley Fool, and we'll link to that article in the show notes. But the first change for 2022 is a cost of living adjustment. That's been higher than what we've seen in the past. So prior to 2021, right, inflation's kind of just held pretty steady at some pretty low rates. So when you look at historical cost of living adjustments, a lot of people might be looking at those going, well, that didn't feel like a whole lot. But this year, inflation, right, or I'll say in 2021, inflation was pretty rampant, meaning that it was pretty high. And so the change for 2022 is Social Security recipients can expect to see their benefits rise by 5.9%. So they said in the article here the average monthly benefit of $1,565 would go up to about $1,657. So on that average monthly benefit, that was a $92 increase. And so if you're making more than that, well, then your increase will probably be more than what I was talking about there. So here we go. How does this relate to you? Now, for those that are taking Social Security, you're going to see an increase in your Social Security check, right? Or the deposits going to your account. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, hey, I heard this 5.9% number, but if I do a lot of math on, what's coming in or what I'm seeing deposited, did I get all of it? And there might be a few things that you need to also understand, or other things that have gone up as well. Is if you're wondering if you got all of it, please know if you are on Medicare Part B, Medicare Part B also went up. The standard monthly Part B premiums will cost $29.60 more in 2022 compared to 2021. So roughly a third of what your increase might be eaten up by the Medicare Part B increase. Then you also have to understand, are you having taxes withheld from your Social Security? And if you are, and let's just say you're having 10% withheld, if you're having 10% withheld, 10% being withheld from a higher number means that more taxes are being withheld from your Social Security. So don't forget that some might be going to taxes. But all in all, right, with a 5.9% rise in the benefit, all in all, your Social Security deposits and checks go up, and I hope that you're finding this to be a benefit in your overall life. Now, you might be sitting there going, wait a second, I'm not yet taking Social Security. Should I have taken it because it went up so much? Folks, don't worry about that. For those of you that are not taking Social Security, this cost of living adjustment, this all gets factored into the Social Security calculations and gets factored into your primary insurance amount. And actually, I wanted to use this as an example to show you the power of waiting to take Social Security, right? Because the cost of living adjustment, that gets factored in, right, to your primary insurance amount, the amount that you're going to see on that statement if you go to ssa.gov. But this cost of living adjustment is what goes on the amount that you've also finally decided to take, right? So here's what I wanted to cover really quick. The benefits of waiting or deferring, right? Waiting to take at age 70 versus full retirement age, or waiting to take at full retirement age versus age 62. Let me just give you a quick example to help you understand the benefit of waiting before you decide to take. Now, I just want to make something very clear. These are not perfect numbers. It's just to help explain the point. So let's just say your benefit at age 66 was going to be $2,000, right? And you'd already taken. And so now we get this 5.9% rise in benefits, and you had taken at age 66. Well, that 5.9% rise in your benefit would have been a $118 increase to your benefit. Pretty good, right? Now, instead, let's just say you decided to defer, and then defer again, meaning you're waiting to take Social Security, and instead, you're a person who waited to take Social Security until age 70. So instead of that $2,000 a month benefit, and again, these numbers are not proper and perfect based on how much Social Security go up. I'm just using easy numbers to help you understand a point here. So let's just say a person instead waited till age 70 and then started to take. So right, that same person, if they would have taken at age 66, $2,000, they waited till age 70, so now it's $3,000, and that 5.9% on that $3,000 is a $177 increase. So think about that, right? Just by waiting, there's a much larger increase on your benefit. That's the power of these cost of living adjustments. That's the power of waiting to take your Social Security benefit, because the cost of living adjustments, they don't focus it on full retirement age. They focus it on the benefit that you decided to take. So again, in my example, imperfect numbers of what the actual Social Security amounts would be, but just to give you the power of waiting to take, right? $2,000 at age 66, it was $2,000 a month, 5.9% increase, that's $118. Or a person that, say that same person instead had waited till age 70 and their benefit was $3,000 a month, that 5.9% goes on that $3,000 a month, or $177 increase. That is a nice monthly increase in benefits. And you might think, okay, $50, $60 over a month, but then take that times 12 months in a year, and then take that times your lifetime. Folks, that can be a pretty powerful number, all that's coming in Social Security benefits. Let's move on. What's the next change for 2022? The next change is a higher wage cap for Social Security tax purposes. So dependent on your income, let's say you're still working, dependent on your income, we don't necessarily pay Social Security taxes on all of the earnings. So there's a wage cap, meaning once you get past a certain income, then your income is no longer taxed, or the Social Security taxes no longer apply to your income. So in 2021, that cap was $142,800. So if you were making, I'm just going to use this, $150,000 a year, your $142,800 is all subject to the Social Security tax. In 2022, they've raised that to $147,000. So if it's a high income earner, and to be aware that, some more of your income is actually going to be subject to Social Security taxes. So again, back to our example, you make $150,000. Based on the new 2022 changes, $147,000 of that is going to be subject to the Social Security taxes. That next $3,000, there's no Social Security tax. So for those of you that are making over $142,000, let's just say you're making over $147,000, you're actually going to see that your paychecks will be a little bit less this year because more of your income is subject to Social Security taxes. All right, our third change for 2022 is that there is a higher earnings test limit. This point is for those that have decided to take Social Security prior to full retirement age and still work. So if you're taking Social Security prior to full retirement age and you're still working, pay attention to this one here. First, let's understand what takes place. So if you're working prior to Social Security full retirement age and you're collecting Social Security, they have what's called an earnings limit. And if you go past this earnings limit, meaning in your job, right, at your company for your salary or your hourly wage, basically, if your wages go past the earnings limit, and again, you're collecting Social Security, you're going to have $1 of your Social Security withheld for every $2 that you earn above the cap. The limit is going from what used to be $18,960 in 2021 up to $19,560, meaning you can earn more before they start withholding some of the Social Security that you're collecting. So let's just say that, again, you're collecting Social Security, you're working, and again, the limit is $19,560. So let's say you earn $19,562. You're $2 above the limit. They're going to then withhold $1 of the Social Security that you were collecting for that month. Now, at or after your full retirement age, there is no limit. You can earn as much as you want and collect all of your Social Security. So at and after full retirement age, this earning limit disappears. But it's good to know. It's good to understand. I think and sometimes people can kind of get so into the detail of, hey, I shouldn't go past this earnings limit because they're going to take some of my Social Security. Folks, in my eyes, if you're going over it or way over it, most likely you're still making money. You're putting more in your pocket, more in your savings, more towards you than trying to stay in and under and within these limits, right? Because you're only taking one for every $2 you go over. So I'm just making you aware of this change, but I wouldn't, focus on it too hard. If you're working, go out there and if you're making way past that anyway, go out there and make what you need to make. All right, so then the last point here, the last change to 2022 is a higher earnings threshold to score work credits. So I think this is important to understand. To qualify for Social Security benefits, you need to accumulate 40 work credits in your lifetime. And you can only get 4 credits per year. So right now, a work credit is worth $1,470 of income. But in 2022, you're going to need to earn $1,510 to get a work credit. So I think this is really important for everyone to pay attention to. Meaning, do you know, have you recently looked at your Social Security benefit statement, and do you have enough work credits that you will earn or be able to qualify to collect Social Security? And you really want to take a look at this, especially if you're somebody who may have worked where you'll get like a government pension, meaning your company was not paying into Social Security. Or if you were working part-time, or if you took a lot of time off and then you decided to go back to work. I highly recommend that you go and look at your statement. One, you want to make sure that the earnings history is correct, right? So you're going to look year by year. Does it all look correct? Two, do you have enough years? Do you have enough credits to be able to collect Social Security? So you can see, at 40 credits over your lifetime, you can get 4 credits per year. If you're working at a company for, at least 10 years full-time, making over, $5,000 a year, most likely you're going to qualify for Social Security. But if you were, again, doing some part-time work, or you did some work in which your company was paying into Social Security, right? The Social Security taxes that we were talking about earlier, but then you were doing some work in which your company was not paying into Social Security, most likely like a government job that might have a government pension, you might fall really close to those credits. And so you might want to look at that and go, hey, I need to get some more credits before I retire to up or make sure I get my full Social Security benefit. So paying attention to that statement is just really important. One, to make sure the earnings history is correct. But if you're close, do you qualify? Or maybe do you just need to, take on a part-time job to just get those last few remaining credits that you need to get, so that way you can qualify to collect your full Social Security. Folks, I hope that really helped you in regards to the changes that are coming up for Social Security in 2022. I wanted to end with a listener question. We've got one from Vicky, and hey, it related to Social Security, so I thought it would fit in great to today's episode. Vicky says, I don't think my kids are expecting an inheritance from me because I was single mom for most of their lives. But I really want to be sure that I'm not a financial burden for them at any point. Should I work until I'm 70 so that I can take the highest possible Social Security benefit? Vicky, thanks for writing in your question, and happy to help you provide you some thoughts to think through this. And, I think one thing that you mentioned here is, hey, I don't want to be a financial burden on my children. Well, Social Security could play a role into that, but I'm going to kind of maybe change this around to some things that you want to be thinking about, Vicky. And I'm going to call it kind of 2 parts. First is that part of when is the right time to take Social Security. I'm going to kind of walk you through some steps that we go through when working with clients. Number 1, a lot of people just focus on longevity, right? Like, how long do I feel that I'm going to live? And then based on that, when should I take Social Security to max it out? In my eyes, that's just one point of many that you should be looking at. The next is, what are your monthly needs and how much do you have saved up? You see, because based on those 2 points, if you were to take Social Security too early and you don't have enough saved up, well, then you've got to take too much out of your retirement savings, and then that could really stress you out, meaning that you could, your bucket of money, your retirement savings could dwindle down pretty quick, and next thing you know, you might be a potential financial burden on your children. Maybe you've got a lot in retirement savings. I work with a lot of folks that have, a lot saved up in their retirement savings, and therefore Social Security plays a little bit less role right, in their long-term picture. And then if they take it a little bit earlier, meaning full retirement age, or 67 or 68 or 69, those years aren't huge impact because they've got a lot saved up in their retirement savings, and that, based on what they need each and every month between Social Security and what they've got saved up, they've got no problem getting that accomplished. So I think first and foremost is putting together a retirement income plan. Now, Vicki, I know you said financial burden, and I guess one thing that I also want you to think about, and part of this is financial, but part of it is just health, mental, time, where your children live, is long-term care. Not only could long-term care support, be a financial burden, right? But it could also be, like I said, a burden on your children's time, a burden on their just overall health and mental, right, of being able to help you out. So think about this, if you were to need home health care, that takes money to remain at home if you're to need home health care. I mean, I've seen where it could take, full-time home health care, $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Do you have that saved up? If not, maybe then it helps to wait longer to take Social Security so you have a higher monthly income coming in. Or nursing home, that could be upwards of $90,000 a year. Do you have money saved up to be able to do that? Again, waiting to take Social Security can help, but there's not a Social Security benefit out there that's going to cover a $90,000 a year nursing home. So where I was going with all of this is, have you also considered long-term care insurance? Your question was about being a financial burden on your children. I kind of generalized it into, if you don't want to be a burden on your children in general, another perspective or another thing that you want to think about is long-term care and long-term care insurance. So first, put together your retirement income plan, look at what your monthly needs are, what you've got saved up, and then go through timing the potential right time to take Social Security. This is a process that we go through with all of our clients. And then after we've got the retirement income plan in place, one of the things that we have is a discussion with all of our clients as well is long-term care, what the potentials could be. Are you able to self-insure, or should you transfer some of the risk to long-term care insurance? Vicki, I hope that this helped your question. If anybody's got a question, go to lifemoneyshow.com. Again, that's lifemoneyshow.com. Feel free to submit your questions. I really hope this podcast that you're finding value and benefit in it. And if so, and if you'd like to listen to additional podcasts just like this, subscribe on your favorite podcast player, as our goal is to help you build wealth and reduce your long-term tax picture. Also, check us out on lifemoneyshow.com to see additional podcasts, blogs, and videos to help you in your financial future. I look forward to our next conversation to help you live life today and be financially confident about your tomorrow.
Sierens Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and Sierens Financial Group, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Sierens Financial Group, Inc.